Joining us now to talk more about this and some other things, Democratic Congressman Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts. Congressman, good morning to you. Welcome to Washington and welcome to Way Too Early. We really appreciate you being up early with us. Let's start big picture, and then I want to talk a little bit about what's unfolding on the House floor today. You heard what Clyburn said there about what George W. Bush said and how Joe Biden was probably the only Democratic candidate out there that could have beaten Donald Trump. And the reality that we're facing now in Washington is very divided, a 50-50 Senate, a very narrow majority in the House. What do you think Democrats, particularly in your new freshman class, need to do to actually get some of these big things done? It's not necessarily going to be easy to thread that needle and get all of your fellow members of the Democratic caucus on board to get this agenda done that Joe Biden's looking to push forward.
Well, thanks for having me on. The first thing we need to do is focus on crushing the virus. We have a pandemic that's raging out of control due to the incompetence of the previous administration. Joe Biden has made clear that his priority is going to be 100 million vaccinations in the first 100 days. And that needs to be what Congress gets behind, because until we can tackle this pandemic, we can't tackle the series of challenges we have ahead of us.
So today on the House floor, there's going to be a vote on the waiver for Lloyd Austin, General Lloyd Austin. That's President Biden's. I got to get used to all the new titles. President Biden's pick to be defense secretary. He, of course, needs a vote in the House because he has recently served on active duty. This is, of course, the civilian head of the Defense Department. There's been some controversy here. Some Democrats, even some veterans, saying that they're concerned about giving this waiver over. Where do you stand on giving this waiver to General Austin? And do you think that your colleagues are wrong to oppose it if you're supportive?
I'm going to vote in favor of the waiver, but I don't think my colleagues are wrong to have serious concerns about granting these waivers. For 4 years, we've seen unprecedented politicization of the military. Our institutions have been under attack. We are raw and fragile as a democracy right now, and every consideration must be given to civilian control over the military. But Joe Biden's not Donald Trump. Donald Trump got a waiver because he needed adult supervision in the National Command Authority. Joe Biden's going to get a waiver because we're facing a series of cascading crises. America has said they need Joe Biden to help steer the ship, and Joe Biden has said he needs Lloyd Austin to help him do that.
Congressman, the other thing I wanted to ask you about on the Defense Department front, we've seen some disturbing reports that the transition has been seriously impeded by some Trump appointees inside the Pentagon, and they're concerned about the level of information they have. You're a veteran, a Marine. Can you tell us what your take is on how that could affect our national security, foreign policy, and what we're capable of doing on the national stage?
It's unacceptable. These reports that Trump officials in the Pentagon have delayed briefings and have obstructed the necessary transition really is appalling, because it puts America's national security at risk, and politics is supposed to stop at the water's edge. One of the first things I expect Secretary-designate Austin to do is to determine if any military officials were involved in that obstruction, and if so, they need to be brought to account.
All right, Congressman Jake Auchincloss, thank you very much for being here. We're always game to have you and your colleagues who are willing to get up with us this early, and more importantly, willing to be sharp and on the ball, as I'm sure that your military experience means you have a lot of practice doing. So thank you very much for being here, and I'm sure I'll see you in the halls of Congress as well.